Gentlemen, the question today is simple. In today's dating landscape, be honest. What do you think most women today are more likely to give up first? One, a hot meal, or the cheeks? Cheeks. What a crazy conversation we're having, right? A hot meal or the cheeks. And before you answer, this is how I want you to think about this question, right? If you walked up to the average modern woman today, which do you think would be higher? The amount of men who she's given access to her body, of course, here we're talking about sexually, or the amount of time she's cooked for a man first before giving that man the body. So why are we having this discussion? Well, I'm of the belief that most modern women today view cooking for a man, getting in that kitchen, cooking him a meal from scratch, as more valuable than their body itself. Do you agree? Do you disagree? This is the video that inspired the conversation, started the conversation. Shout out to this podcast. Gartesia is the name of the channel. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You guys can head over there and show them some love. The title of this video is She Won't Cook For You, the Hidden Reason Women Test Men. Let's check it out.
Like, so I cook, clean, spend time with you. So you is gonna still think about marrying me, because that, I feel like essentially every man want that you coming in for that purpose. Not that purpose specifically, but eventually you want some. Yeah. So that's why I feel like you ain't getting that for free. Like,
well, I'm before I so I'm before I cook. Most likely, 9 times out of 10, I done you already. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Way before I come in and try to cook you a meal. Like, so I probably wouldn't do that. Like, I probably would be like, you know, I would come in, because most relationships, I mean, y'all be loosely involved and, you know, whatever. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do all that, but I just feel like cooking, that's showing a different care.
All right, so it's a bit of context here that I want to get into. The woman who's talking right now is saying, I'll give up the cheeks most likely before I cook for you. We're going to get back to that. The woman who was talking before her there on the right side was talking about how she doesn't mind cooking and the other things, because she knows if she does that, at least you stay long enough to get what you really want as a man, in addition to the catering, the relationship, so on and so forth. And I want to preface this by saying that I haven't watched this whole podcast, but I've heard enough to know that the woman there who just said, most likely I'll give up the cheeks before I cook for you, she's now in a relationship, and she talks about how she used to have difficulty in the past cooking for men, and it took a while for her to be able to do that, but she's currently in a relationship, and now she has no problem cooking for the man who she's with. Now, so that this conversation is framed properly, I don't want to necessarily focus on her as a person. I would rather focus on this conversation on a broader term, because I believe that this is how women think in general. She right now is saying the truth, right? She's serving some coffee. Most women wouldn't be this honest, but let's keep it real. I personally believe chicks today will let you have access to their body, most of them, before they cook for you, because to them, the act of them cooking for you and the relationship going sour, to them, that's more disrespectful to them letting you clap the cheeks and taking off. Now, that's a crazy statement. And knowing that, the chick here was actually telling the truth about how most women think today, can easily be painted as, oh, that's just you. I don't think it's just her. I think she is okay speaking the truth here. Doesn't mean that it's the healthiest stance or that it's right, but I don't think it's just her. Let's keep listening.
For not saying that is not, but we all know how that can go. You know what I'm saying? But it's like cooking is like I'm nurturing you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's I care for you.
Language.
Yeah, and that's good. But it's like I'm not finna do all that and think you're gonna be committed to me if we're not already committed.
Why not? I gave if men out here putting babies in you ain't changed your title. So even if if I did everything else except gave you that, you still gonna try hard and work and try to get that.
Yeah.
Like you're
But
still
see,
working.
it seemed like you come in though, it seemed like you come in open, like
Hell yeah, I'm
it's-
open.
Like as far as just like you cook, be nice and stuff like that, and it
And
seemed
you'll
like
be gone in 30 days.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So it seemed like you open. Me, when I go into relationships, I'm more like closed off, like because of like my past and shit like that. So I'm not open to, like, I've messed with a guy for 3 years and they've never been around my children. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that open to like, cause I feel like, right, if we do all this, right, in 30 days, say we don't work out, like,
cool.
What's the point?
You was cool though. From jump, people be cool.
but I'm not
just
gonna bring you
surface
around
level
my
cool.
kids
Oh,
and we
yeah,
ain't
you
messing
got
around in
kids.
30
I don't
days.
got
I ain't finna go in and do all this for you in 30 days. Cause I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna come and bust your shit out. Like I'm gonna bust your windows. I'm gonna be more reactive to the situation cause I'm gonna feel played.
All right, so the chick there in the middle who has the jeans on says, hey, I don't mind cooking and doing all these other things for a man because in 30 days, if he hasn't yet shown genuine interest, at least I didn't give up my body and I can get rid of him, right? She says, giving up my body and getting a bunch of babies at the end of the day won't get any woman anywhere and hasn't for a lot of chicks out there. The other woman then says, hey, it seems like you're more open than I am. She's more closed off and she's more hesitant when it comes to acts of service because she values that more. Now, we're going to speak candidly here as usual. She's thinking backwards. She's thinking extremely backwards because you would think that giving up your body to a man is the more intimate thing. Because not only are you risking yourself to a whole lot of drama, trauma, bonding, right? You're going to bond with that man. Your body's releasing bonding chemicals, literally. On top of that, there's a chance of that man getting you pregnant and you're vulnerable to all types of diseases, so on and so forth. And so when I hear that logic, to me, it sounds completely backwards. However, maybe this may be a controversial opinion. If you disagree, of course, you guys know you're always free to disagree in the comment section down below, respectfully. And she also adds, hey, I'm not as open, I'm closed. When I believe that part of that closeness is actually trauma and offering your body up first only adds on to that trauma, right? Let's keep listening.
If you put
And
more
that's
time
why,
into it.
exactly, if I put more into it, and I feel like I try to take the safe route.
But what did he tell you though? Did he come in saying anything, tricking your mind? So what I'm finna go react for? I only react if you lie to me. Yes, I'm gonna pop up. You're gonna see me because you lied. But if you ain't promised me the sun, the stars, and the moon, you fuck me every day. Then I turn around, you got married. What? I'm calling my homegirls. I ain't even finna. What I'm finna deal with you for? You was just surface level cool anyway. Yes, I cooked, I cleaned for you. You ain't getting no money out of me. You already got a little and a little time.
But see, me personally, I be like, once we like,
No,
you know
mad.
what's up. You know what's up, shorty.
What was said?
Yeah, I don't, and that's everybody. Cause you would come in and a like, oh, I ain't really looking for nothing like that. But then you want me to get in the kitchen and cook for you? So what you mean you not looking for
You
nothing?
fucked them.
Hey, look, but that's what I'm saying. People go back on their words all the time when
Yeah.
sex get involved, when feelings
For
get involved.
sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, my tell you anything in the beginning, like, of a relationship. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're, oh, I do this, that, and the third, and all of a sudden, month down the line, you ain't really like that.
I think that's the reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if he's coming in like, listen, I don't want nothing serious. I'm going through a lot right now. I'm just having a good time. We could go on dates. We could, you feel me?
Right, so let's do that.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have me doing personal shit like cooking for you, doing your laundry. I'm not about to, if you're not looking for nothing, because it seemed to me you looking like for some serious shit. Because that's a wifey role to me at the end of the day. Like cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry. Like that's not something, if I'm loosely involved with somebody, I'm not finna just be doing all that for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do that with somebody that I care for, that I wanna be with. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you saying you're not looking for nothing, you don't wanna be in a relationship, but you're having me do everything that a woman does in a relationship. Like, so it's like, who really making sense? And I have every reason, matter of fact, to act how I'm gonna act, because you said you wasn't looking for nothing, but then you having me basically come in and do all this relationship shit, and then telling me, oh, you know, ain't no strings attached. It ain't like that. Like, what you mean it's not like that? Like, this is my time. Like, this is my personal, you know, this is my personal self. Like, it's one thing to be like, we just gonna that's cool, but once you want me to go pick up your mail and do lush, like, hold on, I'm feeling like I have the stress of a relationship. So
I think this chick's a little bit confused about what exactly is causing that bond. I don't think it's the doing the laundry or cooking. I mean, those are intimate gestures. They're in the intimate category. But what's really causing the bond is that you're giving up your body to that man. Whether you agree to it or not, the actual act of intimacy bonds you with the person who you're having sex with. It's just what it is, right? Women get attached more than men during intimate moments. And what's crazy is she actually says it, right? Earlier where she says, oh, if we F, then he already knows what it is. She actually says it. And my question to you guys is, do you think it's a little bit ludicrous that we're in a time where giving up your body to a man is seen as less intimate than cooking for a man, catering for him, doing things where you don't actually have to give up your body, right? And could this point to why so many women have so many children outside of wedlock, you know, single mothers who are out here just letting guys clap their cheeks just because I'm just going to let them smash. But then you end up being linked to that man for the rest of your life via that baby.
So what are we doing? Like,
it's two to tango in the relationship though. So if you come in, it's like, okay, yeah, he said, okay, I don't want nothing serious. All right. But then you ask me to do all this stuff, I'm going to simply tell you no. Like, and that's that. And you ain't going to make me going to get your mail or sweep up. We don't even, you know the vibes. Don't even ask me nothing like that. You better ask for what you've been getting. That's the peak. And this conversation that you're not getting no gifts. You ain't getting shit from me. You getting surface level like you getting from me. I ain't gonna tweak out on you or nothing. Cause you can, every situation I done ever been in, I know the other man had somebody else. Like every literally situation, like you can tell just how people move. So what I'm finna do and all that for, like, you don't even give me the vibe to do all that. I'm not doing that unless I gave you that title boyfriend.
She's making sense. She's making sense to me. But of course, guys, curious to know what you think. We're going to check out some of these comments and see what the people had to say. This comment here says, the food is more important than your body. Got it. Somebody responded back and says, I'm flabbergasted. Here's somebody else who says, hearing it out loud makes it sad. Here's somebody else who says, let them talk. And I think, like, people never think about these things, right? But speaking this out loud actually does add a sense of like, wow, that's really effed up if you really think about it. It's something that you see every day, people participate in. If you ask most women, how many full course meals have you cooked for a man, you know, before giving him your body, chances are that will be less than their actual body count. Somebody else who says 2025 women logic for y'all. Here's somebody else who says you can cook great, but are you going to clean the kitchen afterwards? This person says a good point. Another person who says real woman. That's a real understanding. Huh? Let's see. What? That's wild, man. There's some wild thinking people on this planet. My guy's tripping. Somebody else here says, wild world we live in, y'all. I agree. Somebody else here added, the math ain't mathing. Final comment here says, then wonder why that relationship is only that. Crazy topic. Moving on.
If you want to understand why Black men are not going to college at the same rate, I need you to look at literacy rates. I'm seeing a lot of conversation about why Black men should go to college, why they don't go to college, but no one's talking about the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that a lot of Black men cannot read at a college level. Now, this is a hard thing for me to say because I know people will hear that and become immediately defended and give me different examples of Black men that can read, but we are not talking about those cases. We are talking about, in a majority, our community is suffering when it comes to literacy. I have worked.
Okay, so there's this conversation happening right now about why Black men aren't attending college at the same rate as Black women. I wasn't going to personally actually address this, but after some thought, I thought, you know what? This is actually a very interesting topic. I have my own personal sort of unique view. Of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let's keep listening. I'm going to let a couple of people here talk before I do.
I've worked in higher education for 15 years. And as a first generation college student from the hood, I noticed that the people that look like me, that went to the same neighborhoods as me, same schools as me, were not in classrooms with me. They were going to college, but they were not finishing. So I made it my mission to say, okay, I want to make sure people know this is accessible. So I went to a 4-year private school. I realized that's not accessible. Okay, cool. Let me go to this 4-year public school. Okay, this isn't accessible. Okay, let me go to a community college. Oh, this isn't accessible either, not because they don't have access, but because they cannot read, therefore they cannot succeed at a college level. Now, if you don't know anything about community college, they were designed for the community, right? They're designed for you to go and get a low-cost education without strapping yourself with debt. So a lot of times they'll tell you, go get your 2 years done and then be gone. You can go to a 4-year or do whatever you want to do. But the reality is, most of these men that I work with personally could not read. So once we got them past developmental courses, they stopped out. Their grades dropped. They lost their financial aid because they could not read. You don't know what it's like sitting in front of somebody, explaining to them that even though they're trying so hard, they still cannot move forward because their literacy skills are not on par. It crushes so many of them that they never come back. The sad
And so, as you guys can expect, a lot of people got offended by some of the things that were being said here. Let's keep listening.
thing is, in most cases, I was the first person to have the conversation with them that their literacy skills were not where they needed to be. And that is a hard conversation to have with someone that has already graduated high school, has gone through the test, and now I'm sitting here telling them that the reason that they're not passing is because they can't simply understand the material. This is usually where the blame game starts. The colleges blame K-12. K-12 blames the parents. The parents blame the community blames hip hop and athletes. When the reality is that our ability to access literacy has been systemically reduced.
All right, so that's enough of that. What was going through my mind the whole time I'm listening to this woman's video here is, from what I know in the research that I've seen, women are outpacing men when it comes to college attendance in general, not just within the Black community. Now, I'll give you guys insight into why I decided to drop out of college myself, and we'll talk about that more later. But let's see what some other people had to say. This next video I thought was interesting because this woman right here is coming from the perspective of having a son who decided to go to trade school instead of go to college. It's titled Black Men Not Going to College. So what, right? We've got a lot more coming. Let's keep listening.
Men saying they don't care about our college degrees is starting to make sense to me, because this whole discourse around Black men not attending college makes me feel like some of your degrees are not worth the paper they're written on, because you would understand that college rates for men as a whole are in sharp decline. Mm-hmm. We know that according to the Chronicle of Higher Education, that rates were like at 40.5 for all men in 2021. And those rates are still in decline. So that Black men would be a part of that. And due to systemic issues and all that intersectionality and the differences we know happen in our educational system that would greatly impact Black men, as well as inner city students or students who are low income, we know that that might disproportionately impact some of our communities. So what are we even talking about? What is with the elitism and acting like, oh, I went to college and you didn't? So like, what are we doing? I have a bunch of degrees, love school. I'm a college professor. Education
Oh,
is
wow.
great. If you can do it, great. But if you choose to do a trade like my son and you're quite successful,
Right.
that's okay too. We really have to stop trying to find ways to be better than each other. It's like you all be grasping at straws at this point, and it doesn't make sense. It is okay. Do we want to see rates go up? Absolutely. But it also has to make sense.
I really think it's interesting how it's always a woman who has a son and wants the best for that son, who, when she encounters conversations like this that are sort of divided when it comes to the gender, she's able to see things from male perspective. Let's check out a few comments underneath her video. Top comment here says, I got an associate's degree in business. My CDL pays the bills. We're going to talk more about that later. Somebody else here says, I make more money than 60% of the people with college degrees. And somebody else here says, my wife has a master's degree in education and has never used the degree. I pay 70% of the bills and have 0 degrees, this commenter says. Let's see what people had to say underneath the first video, right? So this is the woman who was talking about black men and literacy rates. Top comment here says, we've spent over 10 years investing all of our resources into girls and neglecting boys. Now we just shame them for not being up to par. That's a very, very overlooked and important statement.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Good coffee. Somebody else here says, all these excuses in the comments. And so this comment right here, we're going to see more of this, right? This woman who's like, all these excuses, you men are just making excuses, so on and so forth. What do I think so far? So when it comes to the question of, should I attend college or should I not attend college? I believe that decision should be made like any other decision in your life that has serious lifelong consequences. And this is the same type of advice I would give to any young man who came to me and asked me for advice. The question I would ask is very simple. Why? Right? What is your goal in attending college? And I think there are too many people out here who go to college and have gone to college, attended college, not because they had a goal and a plan or understood what they wanted to get out of college, but because, number one, it was an insecurity thing. So you want to be able to say, I have this college degree, and you're free to want that, right? With everything that it comes with, the debt, right? And the time that's taken away from you actually earning money in the field that you actually want to go into, given that it's not guaranteed that that college degree will be useful, right? There's a lot of insecurity when it comes to college. And I think the idea that every person should attend college, once you get over the idea that that's just not true, you can comfortably now make the decision of, what do I actually want out of college? Now, there are some occupations or careers that require to attend college, right? I don't want to find out that my doctor is self-taught through YouTube. Nobody wants that. But I think if you really sat down and asked most guys, what's your goal? Most men think very logically. It's not about an insecure angle of flexing that degree of just being able to have that doctor in your name, which actually translates to nothing for a lot of people and doesn't guarantee you're actually going to benefit anything outside of just having that knowledge in that name. Men should approach this conversation as logical as possible. I believe most men should be asking themselves, hey, how can I achieve an income generating skill, preferably a high income generating skill? And today, now more than ever, you do not need college to attain a high income generating skill. You just don't. Men see that. They know that. The trouble is you might not know what you want to do. I was lucky. I always knew what I wanted to do. I dropped out of film school because I asked all the guys, this was one of the reasons, I asked all the guys that were graduating if it was worth it, and they all told me no. right towards the end of it. And I took their word for it and realized what I wanted to do, I could achieve without a film degree. Now you may be sitting there going, oh, that's art school. Yeah. And they were right, by the way. It was the Art Institute. And I think like recently they ended up getting exposed for like fraud, and they're like returning everybody's college tuition back to them. Crazy stuff, right? Fortunate. But if you know what you want and you know that it's going to require you going to college, then your path is very straightforward and obvious. But if you don't, I don't believe college is a place where you should be wasting time and money to figure that out. If you just want to acquire, which should be the goal, a skill that generates income, then the path to that really isn't that complicated at all. And I think a lot of men do this, right? They'll sit down and they'll research a field of study or a certification or any type of trade that would give them a high earning skill. Then they go for it. The only problem is sometimes they do that after they've wasted a lot of time in college. Do you know how many men I personally know who look back at their experience in college and think to themselves, it wasn't worth it? A lot. This is not me discouraging young men to not attend college. No, but I am saying there's another path for you to reach your earning potential, that high income earning potential. Do not let them deceive you and you buying into this idea that you're somehow missing out on general knowledge on a bunch of shit that doesn't matter because you didn't go to college. Are the people who go to college that you see, in most cases, doing better than those who decided to pick up a trade or a certification? No, it's getting a lot harder to answer yes to that question. And that's because more and more careers are not requiring college degrees. If you are a young man today who decides, okay, I'm not going to attend college, then the advice I would give you is you just want to take that as seriously as you would take it if you were in college. You know, something a lot of people say is college is a predictor of future success. There was a study that was done that talked about the highest indicator of someone being successful in their future life came down to like their area code, and I'm assuming college education, so on and so forth. But when I heard this broken down, really, it was very clear that this had less to do with the opportunities, which I know that's controversial, but had more to do with the fact that we often base our standard of what's acceptable on the people we compare ourselves to. And so when you go to college, your level of excellence changes, right? The people who you compare yourself to changes, which leads me to my next point. If you can't surround yourself around men who you look up to and want to be like, then you want to make sure that you keep yourself only exposed to information via books, podcasts, as you go to attain your career path, and you're exposing yourself to the type of people, lectures online, etc. There's so many resources who you want to be like, who you admire. That's the next best thing. And don't let anybody confuse you. It's a powerful thing, right? Have a plan. Don't get distracted with drugs and partying, because when people don't attend school and they don't have that structure, then comes the temptation of you not having that pressure of structure around you. And you have to be serious. Final point. Understand also that you have to think with where things are headed from a technological standpoint as well, right? There's a lot that's going to change within the next few years. What am I talking about? I'm talking about AI. There are a lot of jobs, people right now who are attending college for jobs that are just not going to exist within the next 1 to 2 years. Think about that very seriously. Position yourself. And no, it's not, a content creator isn't the only path. Not saying it's not a path you should take, but I'm just saying it's not the only path, right? You can be part of the team. New jobs will arise from this next digital wave. When you're selecting a path, make sure that it's protected from the advancement of AI, so on and so forth. The one thing that I see a lot when it comes to college attendance is insecurity. People think that they're somehow less than for not attending college. And I think I attribute it to luck that I always knew that the type of field I would want to be involved in personally. I had an idea, right? I think that gave me a lot of confidence to not care, when I heard other people getting their college degrees, so on and so forth. But it means nothing. So I'm here to remind you, unless if that's your goal, it should mean nothing to you that you don't have a degree if it's not going to stop you from reaching your goal, your means to an end, right?
There's a whole debate right now about black men not going to college and even white women outpacing white men in degrees and all this and that. And as a man who went to college, I need y'all to understand something. The people who went to college and actually got something out of college don't have to put others down to make themselves feel better. A lot of people who went to college, got that degree, blah, blah, blah. Their lives aren't nearly what they thought it would be by this point. And part of that degree for them is gloating to people who don't have it. The people who are happy that they went to college and actually got something from college, they're not running around talking about it. There are so many content creators who have degrees and don't talk about it because it's not serving them or because they're like, oh no, that shit was cool. I fuck with it. And now they're living the life they want to live. But the massive majority of them are really upset about the debt they're in, how much money they aren't making, which is why they're talking down on people who don't have degrees. Because if some of them student loan payments are crazy for people. I heard a dude on here the other day talking about, man, when my shit come out of deferment, it's going to be a ban every month. You went to college.
That's crazy.
To graduate and make $60,000, but you got to pay $12,000 in student loans a year. You make $48,000 before taxes are even taken out. I promise you, you can make $48,000 without a degree.
That's wild. That's wild. And that's a good point, right? There are skills that you can acquire right now that will make you more than $60 without college degree debt. And this comes down really to knowing yourself at the end of the day, right? Letting go of the insecurities of why am I doing this? Another controversial point. I personally also think that part of the reason a lot of chicks were chiming into this topic in particular, you have a lot of black women who chimed in to this topic, is also based in this thought process of a lot of these men aren't agreeing with me when it comes to maybe where I stand in like gender dynamics, relationships, what they require from a woman, maybe even in a political stance, right? Might lean more conservative. And they think if this man went through the same liberal brainwashing I did in college, then they would be educated. And maybe, right? And that's really the case for men in general today, is that you end up finding out that women across the board, regardless of race, tend to be about I think 30 to 40% more liberal than men. I believe that's largely attributed to colleges that they attend that sit there and brainwash them. And they're mad that men aren't there experiencing that with them so that they can come out equally uncaffeinated.
No, I'll have a tea actually.
Man, that's right. I always advocate for black men to go get their college degrees. I'm not gonna hold you. I got mine, and I'll drop that money whenever I get the chance to tell somebody, stop playing with me. I got my degree in political science, a minor in Africana studies and philosophy. On my mama, join the 19%. I be trying to tell, it's like, look, man, yeah, you don't gotta go to college to make money. Yeah, you could maybe try to get a trade. That shit ain't easy. All that math and technical skills, bro, that shit don't even translate all the time. A lot of the time, it be taking 7-8 years till you really make money in that shit. I know, it be taking 5-10 years with a degree to get money too. But you really got market security for real. I'm not gonna hold you. A lot of with that trade, y'all be scared of AI. Y'all be scared of a new forklift machine to come out. But I'm just saying, though, nah, man, black men, go to school.
So that's definitely not true. That's not true at all. That's one of the things that you realize, and I've heard over and over again when I talk to my very good friends who graduated from college, right? When we're having conversations, they say very often that, like, man, when you sit down and do the cost benefit analysis of time spent to acquire a degree in college and time spent to acquire skill outside of college, it takes a lot longer in most cases to get a degree and qualify for that job than it would, and it does, outside of college.
Y'all don't waste no time trying to shit on a brother. Now y'all talking about why black men don't go to college, and in the process of that, y'all shitting on the trade school? I don't know what black men y'all be around, but I know a whole lot of black men that have gone to college and graduated. And since we on this topic, they got less kids than the dudes that didn't go to college. So what that tell me? Y'all ain't with them. And me personally, I ain't go to college out of high school. I went to the military, and I can tell you exactly why I ain't go to college. And it's probably a whole bunch of other brothers that went through the same stuff that I went through. I was with in them school systems. Some people don't understand what it's like to be antagonized as a child. And you don't really know what's going on until you get like older in life. And then stuff started to clicking, and it was like, oh. Anytime I would get suspended, it would always be because of how I reacted from something. And y'all know them schools be going off what the teacher's saying, not the student. Even with that going on, I still graduated high school, walked across the stage. Some brothers just drop out, they give up. Since y'all love stats so much, y'all do know white women are outpacing white men as well, right? Since y'all love stats, y'all.
All right, so just thought I'd get a good amount of different perspectives here, guys. Of course, I'm curious to know what you think. What do you guys think of the conversation of just women outpacing men in general when it comes to college? That's a pretty interesting conversation overall. Moving on.
I'm not a lawyer, but a 31-year-old Atlanta woman has just been charged for making a false call to 911, which resulted in the death of Atlanta rapper Young Scooter. Let me give you a quick recap to get caught up on this story.
So I don't actually know who this rapper is, but I have heard a little bit about this story, which I think is crazy. All right, let's check it out.
Last Friday, news hit that Atlanta rapper Young Scooter had passed away. According to Atlanta police, a woman called 911 to report seeing a woman being drugged without clothes on and some men with some weapons and some other stuff. Here is some of that 911 call.
So I'm not actually going to play what she played. I'm going to actually play you the full one. When I heard this 911 call and realized this whole thing was a lie and resulted in this man's death because she was jealous and wanted to end the party that was happening at some house, so she called the cops over there. And she lied about everything in here. I was like, this takes a pretty evil person to actually do something like this. Check it out.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm the neighborhood watch, and basically, like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They hold the guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over, if they was fighting over drugs. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. And then they started shooting. She had someone come over there, and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing the area.
How many shots were fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did it happen?
It's happening now.
Okay.
All lies, by the way.
So I believe the girl is hurt.
And they're coming from 273 William Nye Drive?
Yes. And the girl is hurt because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Okay. Do you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, she's trying to get away, and they're holding her. She's being held hostage. Like, they brought her, the guy that was fighting her, she ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside.
This is crazy.
And then there was another commotion. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're at the door, literally fighting. She's trying to get out. He's refusing to let her out. And it's like 7 guys in the house.
So she's also alluding to him traffic. Like, this is insane. All right, so let's keep watching. We're back here to the last video. She's going to continue explaining.
Now, during a press conference, Atlanta police say that they came to the house after that call, knocked on the door was shut in their face, and then 2 men fled from the residence. One of those men, being young Scooter, reportedly jumped a fence, and according to the medical examiner's office, the fence he jumped was a wooden one and somehow punctured his thigh, which resulted in him losing a substantial amount of blood and ultimately losing his life. And as for the naked woman that the caller said she saw was being drug around, during that press conference, police said they were never able to locate her.
Was the woman injured at all?
So we were not able to locate a female.
You said a dispute started
Because she didn't exist. It was all a lie.
in a car, a moving car. The dispute was
Outside of the residence.
Outside of the residence, and then a woman was drugged back into the.
That's what was reported. We have not been able to substantiate any of that, which is also a part of our investigation.
Over the weekend, police announced that they are looking to speak with the woman who made the 911 call, and then a woman named Demi Blanco, who's also apparently on a reality TV show, did an Instagram live claiming she's the one who made the 911 call. And now police have announced that the woman who made that 911 call has now been taken into custody and charged with transmitting a false public alarm, specifically if serious bodily harm or death results from the response of a public safety agency. Did you follow that? If you call police for a fake incident and police come and that results in somebody being injured or dying, you can be charged.
That makes sense.
You can be charged. This press release goes on to say that Mrs. Spence,
As it should
the
be.
911 caller, was wanted for her involvement in making a false 911 call regarding a person injured or deceased stemming from a March 28th incident, and she has been transported for processing. March 28th was also young Scooter's birthday, so he passed away on his birthday. This is such a sad story.
Wow. That's unfortunate. Yeah. And, I tried to do a little bit of research on this chick. As soon as I found out that she was on the show Baddies or was somehow related to the show Baddies, and of course you have Krishan Rock there. If you know, Zeus Network, a lot of people, yeah. That's all I needed to see is all I'm going to say. That's all I needed to see. I am curious, though, because what followed next was this picture of her mugshot. The caption here read, officials release the mugshot of woman arrested for making a false police call the night of young Scooter's passing. And let's see here. Woman who made police call night of young Scooter's passing has been arrested for making a false police call. Okay, cool. So mugshot right there. Consequences of her own decisions. I'm curious at how much time she can get, right? This was in Atlanta. Let's talk to Miss Coffee. Gonna hit our AI assistant barista up. Miss Coffee, how much time can you get for a false police report in Atlanta that results in a death?
In Georgia, filing a false police report is typically classified as a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 12 months in jail and/or a fine up to $1,000. Atlanta not guilty +4, find law +4, Georgia criminal lawyer +4. However, if the false report involves making a false statement to law enforcement, it can be charged as a felony, carrying penalties of 1 to 5 years in prison and/or fines.
Ooh. 1 to 5 years in prison.
Georgia criminal lawyer. When such false reports lead to severe consequences, such as a death, the legal ramifications can escalate significantly. For instance, in a notable Georgia case, Melody Ferris was convicted of multiple charges, including making a false statement to police after the death of her husband. She received a life sentence for murder and an additional 5-year sentence for making a false statement, to be served concurrently.
Mercy. Yeah. So it's about to get ugly for this chick. Let's read a few comments here in response to this news of her mugshot. These comments come from the Shade Room. Top comment here says, I keep flipping back and forth between pictures. And so they can't believe that these two women are the same woman. Yep. Yeah, this is, did they get the right person? Right. Next, somebody else here says, hope they get her on identity theft as well. Identity theft. Why would they get on identity theft? Oh, shit. I'm hella slow for this one. That's funny. Oh, yo, it took me a minute. I was like, what did she do? Yo, that's hilarious. People responded back to that. LMAO screaming with the laughing emojis. I had to keep swiping back and forth. I'm like, damn, is that the same person? Somebody else here added, let's see. Makeup and wigs should be against the law. Here's somebody else who says, I'm glad I be natural 99% of the time with the crying emojis, because who is this Savannah? This is a lot of women, man. This drastic transformation is a lot of women. And like I said in my last video, guys, where we were talking about the BBLs and natural bodies, so on and so forth, I'm not really strict when it comes to anything. I just think it's to what degree does the makeup change who you are? You know, a little bit of makeup, men don't really bat an eye. But when we're trying to figure out and we're doing double takes to make sure this is the same person, now you know you've taken it too far. Somebody else here added, and a catfish charge, then under the jail. Somebody else here says, baby, I did a 100-yard dash to the comments. I knew y'all were cutting up about the mugshot with the laughing, dead laughing emojis. Somebody else here says, man, the makeup and wig work wonders. And so a lot of people here mainly shocked about how crazy she looks here. So a lot of these chicks you guys see online, a lot of them. Guys, of course, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. Moving on.
Would you be attracted to a guy who's not financially sound when you meet him?
I married one.
Don't you like that alley-oop I just threw?
Dun, dun, dun.
Would you?
All right, so it looks like a lot of modern women are turning their backs on Michelle Obama. Why? Because she's telling the truth. You see, modern women love to live in a fantasy world. And especially the black women that really support her. I've said plenty of times, and I know people feel, their own way about the Obamas, right? I don't agree with their political stances. Really, in all honesty, I'm not that passionate about politics at all much. Have my personal opinions about things, but it's just never been my thing, really. When it comes to them having 2 kids and a family that's intact, from what we see now, still intact, I give them a congratulations. I have no problem giving acknowledgement to anybody who I may disagree with about success in a particular area of their life. With that being said, the delusion here that's being dismantled is her saying, my husband wasn't this rich man, and I was attracted to him. Now, we know it's no 50-50. It's no broke boys. It's soft girl life or single forever for a lot of these chicks. And when you read these comments, you see that they're not happy at all with these type of conversations being had. Top comment here says he had a Columbia degree and Harvard law degree. I love the Obamas, but this is misleading. Is it? Is it? Is it? Because what this means is the same women who say you have to have at least 6 figures that you're making in order for me to take you seriously, that they also have a caveat, right? That they make an exception for a man who has a Harvard degree. I don't believe that. Do I think some may? Some may. But I think a lot of them still want an unrealistic result of proof that they could see proof of income right now. Somebody else here, let's see the responses here. Another person who says, and he was still a broke community activist. There you go. So here we have a lady here, obviously beautiful, brilliant, speaking facts over there, reminding them yo, he wasn't who you guys think he was. And somebody else here responded and says he was community organizer before he met Michelle. And she says, exactly. Somebody else here says, doesn't matter if he was broke. She was smart to choose an Ivy educated man with a vision. The irony in this conversation we're having right now is the same chicks who say, oh, she chose an Ivy man, will let any dude from the street with some game beat it senselessly, fast, not slow. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Drink your coffee, it'll make you feel better.
You know this. Chances are if I click on this, ooh, okay, private account. Well played. This chick says he was literally attending one of the top law schools. She knew that was an investment, LOL. So they're pretty much like calling her out here for being disingenuous. Ooh. Private account again. Good move. Good move. Somebody responded back to her and says she's also a lawyer for a top university. So, and she says, yep, she was smart to bag that Ivy educated black man. Somebody else here says, and that's what's important to pay attention to. There's a difference between someone that's just broke and a bum. Here's somebody else who says, Barack's like, huh? No, I don't think Barack is tripping over that. I don't think he's sitting there surprised. Here's somebody else who says, only if he has potential. Let's see. Ooh, private account again. We're going to get one. We're going to get one. One of these chicks. What are you looking for, Chisha? I'm going to click on one of these videos and find a single mother talking shit. Right? And you gave your womb to a man who doesn't care at all about this conversation. Somebody else who says, that part, Michelle, he had nothing when I met him. This chick here says, look at the entire picture. He had a Columbia and Harvard degree. He wasn't just a regular Joe. Six pack. Let's see. Oh. What do we have there? Little doggy. She said for life. Helen here says, why are we having these conversations still? Even for Michelle and her brother, this is so beneath them. They don't like the conversations about dating, man. Somebody else here responded back and says, isn't it so odd? Like the country's literally divided. There's so much to discuss, but this is what the Obama have to offer. Somebody else here says, they didn't cause the division you voted for. They are free to talk about anything that suits them, not America or you. Somebody else here added for real. Let's see. This chick says, yeah, but he was a broke community organizer at Harvard Law, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Why is there a question about a guy when she is married? Why is this a discussion topic? Just asking. Maybe listen to the entire episode. Somebody responded back here. Yeah. Anyways, I think that observable reality is just such an easy thing to grasp. You can look around, look at the people who you look up to. What I mean by that is there's just a lot of chicks here who look up to Michelle Obama. They think that back in the day, if they met Obama, this is not me saying that Obama doesn't have game or this, that. Let's just say even now, if they met the equivalent of him right now, do you think that they would capitalize on a man who probably couldn't afford to pay for every single date, who maybe she had to help out with the bill, so on and so forth? I doubt it. I doubt it. Listen, guys, as always, curious to know what you think. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.